Today we're talking about the Waves OVox plugin, and we'll get to it all after this introduction. Welcome everybody, I'm Dan Spencer, and I am the Audio Sorcerer. So this is the channel where I teach you how to perfect your audio recording, mixing, and mastering skills. So before we get to the video, make sure you guys smash that like button. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell to know when I have new videos coming out. So without further ado, today we're talking about the Waves OVox synthesis processing plugin. Okay, so this does a bunch of stuff. It does vocal morphing, tuning, harmonizing, vocoding. It has talkbox effects and much, much more, okay? It also has your standard vocal processing effects like compression and EQ in it, reverb, delay, all that kinds of stuff. Now, this is not something you would use, for compression and EQ. It is meant to completely change the sound of your voice. Now, who would want to use this plugin? Well, it is meant more for modern day producers and that type of music. I am a rock producer and pop rock producer, so, this isn't really meant for me. However, there are times where I could use this in the music and find it very useful, and we're going to talk about that later. So in this review/tutorial, what I want to do is I want to give you a brief overview of the user interface, kind of how you'd use it if you're just starting out, because it's going to be a little bit overwhelming if you never saw it. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to listen to what this sounds like on drums, because this is not just meant for vocals. It actually sounds good on almost anything. You could find a use case for it on almost any instrument. So we'll start with drums, and we're actually just going to run through a whole set of presets on it, and you're going to get to hear really what this can do. And then we're going to do the same thing for vocals. We're just going to run through some presets that I picked out that I like, that I think really showcase this plugin and all the different types of sounds it could do. Honestly, the presets do a heck of a lot better job than I would do going through this plugin to showcase what it can do, okay? And then after we get through all that, that's when I'm going to basically talk to you about how I would use this plugin as a rock and pop rock producer, okay? So this plugin here, it goes for $35.99 currently, and Waves has sales all the time. I have a link in the description below if you end up liking it, so you can click that link to purchase it. And if you guys love Waves plugins like I do personally, I have a link popping up in the top right corner to my Waves tutorial/reviews playlist, so definitely check that out after this video. And with that all being said, let's get further into the Waves OVox topic here, and let's look at the user interface. Alright, so here we are in Pro Tools, and I have the Waves OVox plugin open here. So honestly, the first place I want to show you to go to look at is this little hamburger icon over here on the right-hand side. If you click that, user manual, okay? You click that, it's going to launch user manual. This plugin is so advanced that I definitely recommend having access to user manual and going over it if you really want to dig into this, okay? So that's the first thing that I definitely would look at. So the top bar here, a couple things I want to point out. So typically, you're going to want to have this on track. This means that you're actually placing this on the track and that you are sending the signal from the track into it. Okay, your other option would be sidechain. You could use this as sidechain if you want to, but most cases, I think you're going to use it as track, all right? And then for synth, if you want to utilize the full sound of this synth, you're going to want to leave this on internal. The other settings are track and sidechain. And then I would skip over to the arpeggiator section here for talking about things that are important, because arpeggiators are going to get you some really cool sounds. I love arpeggiators. I use them in even the genres of music that I work with. So if you want to use this, you simply just got to turn it on here and basically choose the type of octaves you want to work with here. So if you choose one octave, it's just going to go between one octave, 2, 3, and 4. It's going to get even more crazy, if you go more octaves. Okay, it's got more notes to work with. And you can go up or down with it. And then you can choose your rate at which it goes here. Okay, so that's going to be your speed essentially. All right. So that's the arpeggiator section here. And I think really the bread and butter of this plugin is mostly in the note mapper section here. So this is where you're going to select the key. All right, so remember this has a vocoder built in, and we want these notes to follow the key, especially if, we're really changing what we're singing. So You want to choose your key first here if you're not using a preset, all right? And then obviously you want to turn Note Mapper on if you're going to use Note Mapper, but to get into Note Mapper section, you want to go down to Edit here. And this is where you can actually start putting in chords and notes here. It gets kind of crazy. It's pretty intricate. A good way to maybe look at this would be, if you want to, create chords in here and you're singing. So it's going to make your voice turn into chords. A good artist to think about back in the day, and she always comes to mind, would be like Imogen Heap. Okay. So this is something that maybe she would use. Okay. So this is not something I would necessarily work with. This is a little out of my realm, but this is where if you want to have MIDI notes trigger your voice, this is the section of the plugin that you do it at, okay? This is where you do it at, all right? So I'm gonna turn off what I did there. So let's get out of the Note Mapper. Now, this has two different modules. You have your OVox 1 and 2, so you can combine basically two voices into one. So per se, maybe for OVox 1, I wanted to keep it as my normal voice range. But for OVox 2, I wanted to go a octave lower and make me sound like, I don't know, like Satan or something. So, and you can combine them together and create this, really cool, unique voice. All right. You could also, if you wanted to keep it a little more natural, you could just dial in the low voice at a very soft level, and it's just going to give you, a thicker sounding voice. So I know I was going to talk about at the end how I would use this plugin in a rock or pop rock style, but that's a way that I would use it. I would just kind of use this to create maybe different octaves of a voice, even a higher one, maybe a whole octave above and a whole octave below. Okay, so that's things we could do with that. So we can adjust the formats, of course. The formats help us, try to keep that voice sounding a little bit more natural as we're shifting the tune. All right. And then, of course, we have the gain here. The gain allows us to blend the two of these OVoxes together in a way that we like them mixed. All right. So now I think I should probably show you the advanced setting since we're talking about this here, but I'm going to show it to you and then I'm going to close it because I want to talk about this bottom bar down here. So this is the advanced section. A lot of stuff in here, but most of this advanced stuff here is just more fine tuning a lot of the simple knobs we just showed you on the front related to the formats, because you got your format filter here. You got some things you can add noise, do stuff more with the tuning. Okay, so it is kind of related to your initial front knob. So think about, when you're not in advanced mode, you got like easy mode and advanced mode. All right. So if you want to really dig in, you can here, but you can get some really nice sounds in easy mode. All right. So I'm going to close this back up. Let's just kind of talk about this bottom section here. So you got your mods and effects. So I guess I got to kind of open this back up again to show you this. So we have our effects here, okay? This is the slots down here. We can add these additional plugins down here. We could do auto pan, chorus, compression, delay, distortion, a limiter, and reverb, okay? And we could do up to, it looks like 5 here, all right? So you can add all those in to really fine tune the sound, make it sound different, whatever you want to do, okay? And then you also got EQ here. So you can, EQ the sound also to your liking. And you also got these mod sections here. So you got 4 different mods. You got your ADSR 1 and 2, amplitude, pitch, and format. Okay, so this is kind of like your bottom section here. So if I close up the advanced section, these mods and effects, this is your overall blend of that section I just showed you there. So you can basically add effects, and then you can adjust those mod sections, and then you can blend them in as a whole here. So this is like a parallel section, all right? That's how I would look at these knobs. Now, so this section here, the sibilance section, is actually kind of cool. You can actually decrease or add more sibilance to your sound, because in this particular plugin here, it may or may not matter depending what it does to your voice, okay? So this section here is something that you should account for, something you want to think about when you're creating your sound here. And you also have your pitch correction right here, okay? So you could turn it on or off here, and then how much tuning you want. And it's going to be based upon which key you have selected up here in the Note Mapper. And then our synth level is the level of this plugin basically before the formant filters. And then the OVox control here is pretty much a sum of OVox 1 and 2 after the formant filter. And then the tone here, this is just a tilt filter. You turn it down, it's going to dull the sound. You turn it up, you're going to brighten it up. And then here's our output level, and you even got a limiter built in, okay? So that is, that's pretty much everything I want to teach you about this user interface here. So let's get to the part of this tutorial / review that you guys are most interested in. And let's start with the drums, and let's hear what this sounds like on them. All right, so pretty cool there. So just a little commentary here. And we're actually going to take a listen to one of those presets again because I gotta say, as a rock producer, that heavy drum compression one sounds absolutely amazing. Who else was thinking Nine Inch Nails when they heard that? Raise your hand, because I'm just loving that sound, and I could definitely think of many applications where I would use that. And I'm actually thinking ahead right now in some songs that I might use that in. So let's actually listen to this again, just using the heavy drum compression preset, so you guys can remember it in your head before we move on to the vocals. All right, so let's give it a listen.
us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. Tonight, you won't find me in the velvet twilight. I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight.
Alright, cool. So, those were some presets that I picked out in there that gave you a variety of what this plugin could do to a voice. Now, something I want to point out, I think that the Krang preset was quite awesome for using it in rock vocals, maybe as a double behind a drier vocal, okay? So maybe like a parallel effect. We're going to listen to it again because I think that it was quite powerful, but also somewhat clear. It was obviously less modulated than some of the other effects in here. And also that last whisper effect that I played for you that we're currently set on now, I think that was actually pretty cool too. You can also bury that behind something to create a cool effect. So let's listen to the Krang preset here, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts on this plugin and then how I would use it in the rock and pop rock world. So let's give it a listen.
I'm not giving up on us tonight. You won't find me in the velvet twilight. Let your wings float you up to me, up to the stars and looking down on the cars. We're gonna be superstars.
Alright, so that was my review / tutorial on the Waves OVox plugin. So as mentioned, I was gonna kind of tell you guys how I feel like this plugin would play a part in other genres besides our modern pop genres and maybe EDM and hip hop, which I think this plugin is more geared towards. I kind of gave a lot of those away throughout the video. So, you know, for the drums, that really heavy drum compression preset sounded amazing on that particular drum kit I was using. It sounded, you know, very 9 Inch Nails. So you could definitely, you know, create some of that industrial style rock sound with this plugin if you use it on drums. So that's definitely one scenario. For vocals, using that one preset Krang, you know, it wasn't as modulated as the other presets. It was more clear. We can, you know, hear the actual melody being sang. It had, I would say, a little bit of distortion in it, and definitely some sort of underlying octave for sure. That would be great to bury underneath a drier vocal, bury it underneath their softer, and you're going to get a really nice thick vocal sound, or maybe even some sort of chorus of vocals with that. So that's kind of how I would treat using this plugin in the fields of music that I work with, okay? So I think it's a great plugin. I think Waves did a fantastic job on it. So if you're looking at buying it, you know, if you're a little overwhelmed, don't be. Just use the presets. Remember, you can go in and just modify any of those knobs. That's what, you know, making music like this is all about. Just go in, pick a preset, modify some knobs, play with it, try to break it. You're never going to break it, but, you know, that's the concept of all this, okay? So, yeah, definitely a great plugin. I gave it 2 thumbs up. And if you guys end up liking this plugin, again, I have a link in the description below where you can go purchase it. And if you guys end up liking this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe because I'm making this content for you, and hit that notification bell to know when I have new videos coming out. And if you guys enjoyed this topic, definitely check out my video on the Waves Clarity VX, which will help you clean up noise and sounds within your vocal tracks. And with that being said, until the next video, I will see you guys later, and peace out.